Hello, everybody. So, it's eviction night in the Big Brother house. Now, I didn't see all of the feeds this week, but got the general idea from my sister, and then a little bit tidbits here and there, and watching the shows this past week, that Audrey was a hot mess. I think she broke down emotionally and just couldn't cope. Like, she would stir this pot over here, then she'd stir this pot over here, then she'd stir this one in the middle, and then she'd try to pour them together and make it a meal out of it or whatever. And when she did that, I think she was forgetting what she was saying to people, and she lied as fast as she spoke. It was just like there was nothing to it for her. Now, I did feel compassion for her in the sense that, I've been to the point where you can't cope with anything. You can't deal with anything. The only thing you can deal with is, being able to basically sleep, go to the bathroom, get something to eat, drink. Not even always, this little piece of hair is bugging me, I'm sorry. Not even being able to make a meal for yourself or something, or even sometimes it's as bad where you can't even shower because you just don't have the energy. Now, depression is part of it, anxiety deals with that, but mine was because I had a fall and I hit my head. I think it was because of some medication that I was on. I don't know exactly. I know at one point my doctor had prescribed Prozac for me when I was younger, and I had moved out on my own and I had gotten married, and it was within less than the first year. And they prescribed Prozac for me, and then I think I was on Xanax too, the anti-anxiety medication. Well, Prozac is the anti-depression medication. Prozac is what screwed me up. I used to have a better figure. I could think things clearer. Prozac messed my body up. I blame most of what's happened to me since I got on that medication and got out on my own to Prozac. Now, there's been times where I've been able to, lose weight here and there, and I felt the energy, but it's not, it does something with your brain, and I was on it for well over a year. I was on it for a while. So, I've gotten, and then I think the incident that I'm referring to happened when, there was one point where I was having severe vertigo, and my vertigo was so bad that sometimes when I stood up, I fell over. And I had blackout spells, meaning that either my heart would start racing and I would pass out. I could be laying in bed and I would fall off the bed. And my bed used to be it was one of those wooden sleigh beds, and the mattresses are raised up. Well, let's say the mattress is here in the bed and the floors, let's go like this. When I fell, I'd fall this way and I'd hit my back, my spine on the wood on the side, and over time it's caused problems with my back. That's why I'm having issues with my back. I would either have a seizure, a non-epileptic seizure, or I would just pass out, and when I passed out, I would just fall off the bed or wherever I was standing or sitting or whatever. And I think I had fallen and hit my head on the corner of an entertainment center, and it was so hot, and at that time they were happening several times a day, to where the point was I can't go to the hospital every time I fall and hit my, fall. But I think this time I hit my head, and I did see a doctor within the next week of that, and they told me that I'd had a mild concussion. Well, because I felt so bad, I could barely get up off the couch. I was literally sleeping. It was like two or 3 days like that, and I barely could function. And then it was, slowly got back to it. So if it's from emotions and stress and everything, I can see how she could have gotten to that situation and gotten to where she was at. And I can see where, sometimes you just break down. I don't know what all transpired, and I can't know everything. I can't, my nephew says I can't know. Instead of saying I don't know, he says I can't know. So, Charlie, you're rubbing off on me. Anyways, so I can't know what's going on in her mind or anything. I think she dished out as much as she could, but she couldn't take it at all. And I think it just emotionally, she felt spent, and she really couldn't do much more than, sleep. And I don't know if they had to give her fluids. I don't know what all transpired. I know she was gone for 5 or 6 hours, and she came back, and then she went back there again, and it looked like she was pacing and she was crawling out of her skin. Now, I've never seen on Big Brother history where the power of veto ceremony that the person, slept through it. Now, there was a season, a couple seasons back with Jocasta, where she got really ill, and somebody played on her behalf for something, and I know she was barely able to get out of bed, but she had people that came to her defense and helped, with that and everything. She wasn't trying to close herself off from everybody, but she got really ill. So, I know that, I don't know if it was it 2 seasons ago? Because I thought it was the season Donnie was on there. And they played for her, and she was fine for that week or whatever, I think. But she didn't just sleep through it and decide not to show up. She, there was a legitimate reason. I don't even know that she wasn't at the Power of Veto meeting. I don't remember. I think it was the veto comp she couldn't do, but she was at the meeting. I could be wrong. But I didn't know when Audrey decided to eat all week that she got one vote that was a penalty vote. Never even heard about that. I guess I don't know all the rules, but if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you get penalty. I know I saw on tonight's show that James made her an omelet and brought her some OJ, was trying to get her to eat, and she did. Now, I know that if you can't do the slop or the protein stuff, I guess if you got sick enough, they would have to let you have something, because they're not going to have somebody, get so lethargic that they pass away because of a dietary thing. They would have to, if nothing else, they would have to supplement it somehow. If they couldn't, either IV or feeding tube or something. But even then, I don't know. I think if it got to that point, they would have to ask them to leave the show, because it would mean that they aren't well enough to compete. Because I think if you're on a feeding tube, you don't need to be playing Big Brother. You need to be worrying about your health. Now, at the same time, I know years ago my mother had a medical emergency, and she was hooked up on a feeding tube for, I want to say, like a year. And she wasn't allowed to have any food, any solid food or anything. Everything had to go through the feeding tube, because she had lost part of her intestines. She had a blockage, and it was just a lot of stuff. It was like one thing after another. I know that they were like pouring blood in her as it was coming out. She was like bleeding out, and she was, I don't know if she was in a coma or I know she was out. I think they put her in a drug-induced coma for a little while. But I know when she first came out of it, didn't sound like herself and everything. So, as she got better, she would still do stuff, but she would still be on the feeding tube. She still functioned. As time went on, she still functioned and did stuff. She just had to have it along with her. So, I don't know. I don't remember all of it. It's okay that I don't know all of it, because that was her struggle. I have my own. And, we just love each other, and That's just kind of the relationship. Now, back to Big Brother. You had Vanessa and Jackie win HOH tonight. Now, I don't really know much about Jackie, because Jackie's mostly been in the background or just sitting there and everything, and I don't know if she'll choose this reign to go after whoever got rid of Jeff out of the house or not. But, you just kind of see her, and now all of a sudden she's sitting in the HOH room, in one of the HOH rooms, and she's like, has the power this week, and I don't know, there was this funny scene. It was during, the, what do you want to call it, the head of household competition. And they took two people up at a time, and they asked them a question. Well, they played a music, and the music either pertained to Battle of the Block, the Power of Veto, or the HOH competitions. And I guess it would play the music, and you would figure out what competition they were talking about, and you'd hit the trigger in, and then you'd pick what, you'd point to whatever you were trying to do. Well, let's say that you got a question, one of you answered it. I don't believe anybody got the questions incorrect tonight. If you answered the question correctly, you got to knock off the person that was on the other one, and then you got to decide who plays, because it was one against one, two on, one on one side, one on the other. Well, you get to play, then whoever wins that gets to decide the next two, and it gets down to where you have the final three or the final two, and the final two are the winners. It's like a bracket thing. You play, you might have 8 here and 8 here, and you play each other, then you play each other, then you guys will play each other, and then until it gets down to where there's like the last person nominates the last 2 people there, or gets them, then whoever wins that one, and the person that was left before that, so you have 2 HOHs. Well, there was people were coming and going, and they were saying, okay, this person and that person and whatever. Then it was Austin and James, okay. Big old burly, big, built wrestler guy, 6-7 feet, something like that. And you have little 4'11" maybe, little hillbilly Chinese guy. It was funny because it was just like, well, let me see, like, no, James, this is mirrored because I'm going down like this in my other, alright. James was here, and Austin was here, and it was like, you look at him and it was like, you were kind of looking down, and it was funny. It was so funny. I was laughing at that. Now, I'm confused. I thought this was the BB takeover. Now, I know next week, if the twins, survive this week, then next Thursday, both of them, Julia and Liz, will be in the game. But I really don't like the way they did the twin twist this year. The ones they did in Season 5 did a much better job at it. They were more seamless. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. So, yeah, they got Audrey out of the house tonight, and you heard the Whack Street Boys, and it was funny, Johnny Mac, Jason, and Liz Julia, whoever was there that day, would perform together, and it was so funny. They finally did their last performance, and the Backstreet Boys actually tweeted, something that they liked their moves and everything, and that it was really cool. So I thought that was kind of nice. Alright, I'm going to go for now. I'm going to do another video or two, and that'll be it for tonight. Alright, like, fave, share, subscribe, Megan Shepherd 81, meganshepard81@gmail.com. That's all I have for now. Bye.